Okay, recording started, and Member Califano did let me know that he will not be in this meeting due to an emergency. So Member Carr, Vice Chair Carr is gonna chair for us.
You got this, Mike.
All right, thanks. Are we ready to call the meeting to order?
I think so.
Okay, so then I'll call the meeting to order of the Beverage Licensing Authority at 3:03 p.m.
Perfect, thank you. The first item on our agenda is instructions for virtual hearing and rules of decorum. So I'll share my screen. All right. The city has engaged with community members to co-create a vision for productive, meaningful, and inclusive civic conversations. This vision supports physical and emotional safety for community members, staff, and board and commission members, as well as democracy for people of all ages, identities, lived experiences, and political perspective. More about this vision and the project's community engagement process can be found on our website, which is bouldercolorado.gov. The following are examples of rules of decorum found in the Boulder Revised Code and other guidelines that support this vision. These will be upheld during this meeting. All remarks and testimony shall be limited to matters related to city business. No participant shall make threats or use other form of intimidation against any person. Obscenity, racial epithets, and other speech and behavior that disrupts or otherwise impedes the ability to conduct the meeting are prohibited. Participants are required to sign up to speak using the name they are commonly known by, and individuals must display their whole name before being allowed to speak online. Currently, only audio testimony is permitted online for public comment not related to anything on the agenda. I also will let everyone know that there is a Q&A option available. That's to be used for technical difficulties only. And if you are present at the meeting and you're on the agenda, I'll ask you to raise your hand before your agenda item is called. And then I will promote you so that you can turn your camera on and unmute yourself. So don't worry about that. Next on our agenda is roll call. If you'll just speak your presence aloud. Member Absalom.
Member Absalom, present.
Vice Chair Carr.
Vice Chair Carr, present.
Member Roberts.
Member Roberts, present.
Thank you. And Member Califano is absent today. Next, we have approval of Beverage Licensing Authority minutes from July 19th, 2023.
Member Absalom will make a motion to approve the minutes.
Member Carr will second that motion. All in favor? Member Carr, aye.
Member Absalom, aye.
Member Roberts, aye.
Thank you. Next, we have hearing agenda issues from licensing clerk. There's just one thing I'll call to your attention. Christiana McCormick, our attorney, advised me that we should probably hear item number 7, which is a change of location for Nopalitos before their renewal hearing, which is agenda item number 6. So I will call agenda item number 7 first, and then we'll hear their renewal hearing, agenda item number 6. So just a little switcheroo there. Next is matters from Boulder Police Department. Officer Denning did let us know that he was unable to attend this meeting. So he didn't have any updates for you all for today. He just let us know that he won't be here. And agenda item number 3 is matters from Responsible Association of Retailers. I don't see anyone from RAR in the attendees list. So if Nathan or someone jumps in, then I'll let you guys know. Next is agenda item 4, general public comments for future Beverage Licensing Authority hearings. If you are here to make general public comment about something that is not on the agenda, please raise your hand. Mr. Saban, I see that your hand is raised. If you could lower it. Thank you. And if you're here to make general public comment, go ahead and raise your hand for something that's not on the agenda. And I do see that Mr. Saban has his hand raised, so I will allow. Oh, he took it down. Okay. If anyone is here to make general public comment for future beverage licensing authority hearing, go ahead and raise your hand. Okay. Mr. Saban, I unmuted you just in case you had something for general public comment.
Yeah, I do. Thank you so much. Again, Adam Stapin, I'm a lawyer over here at Dill & Dill. It was my understanding that a matter item 12A5 would have been called up to clarify the correct name of the applicant. And I don't know if that was going to happen before or after the public hearing. So I was just wanted to make sure that that occurred.
And you said agenda item
12A5
okay.
identifies the licensee as CST Metro LLC when it should be Circle K Stores Inc.
Okay.
Make sure that correction gets made. And I was told by my partner that it was going to happen at today's meeting of the BLA, and it was going to get pulled up initially before the public hearings. And I don't want to step on your toes. Just want to make sure that gets acknowledged and dealt with in this proceeding.
No problem. There's another, yeah, those are all very similar. So it was really a challenge to get them all correct. Yeah, there's one more typo in those boundary hearings as well. So I'll address those as we get to them. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Caitlin. I will lower my hand.
All right. If anyone else has anything for public comment, go ahead and raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll move on. All right, seeing none. I'll move on to agenda item 5, which is public hearing and consideration of an application filed on July 3rd, 2023 from Vitamin Cottage Natural Food Markets, DBA Natural Grocers, 2685 Pearl Street, Boulder, Colorado 80302. Kemper Eastley, co-president, Zephyr Eastley, co-president, Heather Eastley, vice president and secretary, and Michael Pellicore, manager of record, with the premise business mailing address for renewal of a fermented malt beverage and wine retail off-premise liquor license. If you are here on behalf of this application, go ahead and raise your hand and I will get you. Okay, we have Mr. Pellicore coming in. And Mr. Pellicore, if you can turn your camera on and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Thank you. Hello. Is anyone else going to be appearing with you for this matter?
Possibly from Dill & Dill, I believe Bob Dill potentially, but from the company, I think it'd be myself for right now.
Okay. And Mr. Dill, if you would like to be promoted to panelist so that you can turn your camera on and speak, go ahead and raise your hand for me. Okay, not seeing him raise his hand, but if that occurs, just go ahead and raise your hand and I'll let you in. Mr. Pellicore, I will go ahead and swear you in and then I'll hand it over to Chair. If you'll just raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in front of the Beverage Licensing Authority is true?
I swear, yes.
And do you swear or affirm that the premise has been posted for at least 10 days prior to today's hearing?
I swear.
Awesome. All right, I'll hand it over.
All right, perfect. So I will read in the hearing procedures. This is a public hearing before the Beverage Licensing Authority of the City of Boulder to determine whether or not the application Vitamin Cottage Natural Food Markets Incorporated, doing business as Natural Grocers, located at 2685 Pearl Street, Boulder, Colorado, 80302. For a renewal of a fermented malt beverage and wine retail off-premise type liquor license, if it shall be granted or denied. This hearing is conducted pursuant to the laws of the state of Colorado and the rules of the Beverage Licensing Authority of the city of Boulder. The purpose of this hearing is to receive information, data, and testimony by interested parties in order to enable this authority to make the findings and to reach the conclusions required to be made by state law as to whether or not the license shall be renewed. Interested parties are the applicant, residents of the neighborhood affected by the license as previously determined by the authority, and the owners and managers of a business located within the neighborhood. This hearing shall be limited to the question of whether there is good cause not to renew the license as set forth in the notice of hearing, which was dated, apologies, let me find what that date was. Dated July 3rd, 2023. A record is being made of these proceedings. Those who desire to be heard shall identify themselves by stating their name, spelling their last name, and stating their pertinent address. They shall also be sworn in by the board secretary. Before we do that, though, I want to ask the authority members if anyone has a conflict of interest in this item, or if you have any ex parte contacts regarding this item that you wish to disclose. Member Carr, no.
Member Absalom, no.
Member Roberts, no.
Okay. Are there any interested parties present or persons who want to act as witnesses? Or any members of the general public who wish to supply comment?
Nope, no hands are raised.
Okay. So then, are you ready to proceed?
I'm sorry, my name is Robert Dill. I'm having trouble connecting and communicating. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good, finally. Thank you. As I stated, I'm the attorney for Natural Grocers. My address is 455 Sherman Street, Denver 80203. And I'll be assisting Michael Pellicore in this matter.
Perfect. You may proceed.
Thank you. Michael, will you state your name for the record?
Michael Pellicore, that's P as in Peter, ELLICORI.
And are you the manager of the Natural Grocery Store at 2685 Pearl Street?
That is correct.
How long have you been the manager?
For about 8 years.
And you've seen the documents and the indication that the company failed to file the proper renewal of the liquor license in a timely fashion, have you not?
That's correct. I've seen that.
Is that particular task or duty something that would maybe your responsibility, or is that at corporate headquarters?
The corporate headquarters does handle the payment for all licenses. I am responsible for this location, and I do accept responsibility for our licenses here. I did notify Natural Grocers corporate of the time to get the license, and that actually goes back to this last February. I know they tried to reach out to the city of Boulder at that time, but because I'm not involved with that process, I'm unaware of what happened, what transpired after that until the notice that I most recently received about a month ago, early July.
Okay. In any event, as it relates to training tips of your employees, has that occurred since this matter came to your attention?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat that?
Have you caused your employees to be tips trained as required by the
Oh.
city in connection with renewal?
That's correct. All employees that have been employed here more than 90 days have been tips trained. And we do that on location, actually in this building. In addition to that, Natural Grocers has an online training course that we do in addition to the tips training, and every employee, no matter what their job title, completes that at the time of hiring as well.
And who does that training? Is it a lady named Tammy Bender?
That's correct. Yeah, she is state certified with that process, and she does work from our corporate office.
And is the training basically a 4-hour class that the employees are required to participate in?
Yes, that's correct. About, yeah.
How can you ensure that the liquor authority that the renewal will be filed on time next year as it becomes due?
Yeah, I have received confirmation from other employees at our corporate office for electronic reminders. And instead of the task being onto one person, multiple people at our home office will be taking on that responsibility to make sure everything is filed in a timely manner.
Okay. Would you like to tell the licensing authority anything else about this set of circumstances that led to our hearing?
Oh, well, I apologize for the inconvenience and the time it takes to get these things resolved. I'll do a better job from the store level here, working with our corporate office to make sure this type of thing does not happen again.
All right. Thank you, Michael. I don't have any further questions.
Mr. Dill, if you wouldn't mind also reporting your appearance for us, so it's on the record.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you said, Caitlin.
Oh, sorry. I just asked Mr. Dill if he'll record his appearance for us, so it's on the record.
Oh, sorry. My name is Robert Dill, attorney number 5725. Address is 455 Sherman Street, Denver 80203, representing Natural Grocers.
Thank you, Mr. Dill. Did you get that, Caitlin? Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so now I will open this up for authority deliberations.
I mean, the only question I have for you, Mr. Pellicore, is what were the set of circumstances around us missing this date? I don't know that I understood what the circumstances were.
I believe it's just with the timing in which the city received payment for our renewal of our existing license. And I believe they were late in that process, how it was explained to me.
Caitlin, is there anything around the timing on when that was submitted payment-wise on a date?
I'm going to defer to Kristen Changaris because I did not take this application, so I'm not 100%.
Hello, Kristen Changaris, licensing manager. I will have to do a little bit of digging to get the exact dates of application, but I can tell you that the entire renewal application was submitted past the license expiration date. It wasn't just an issue with the payment, but I'll have to look and see what those dates were exactly.
Okay, so it sounds like the actual renewal paperwork was behind the date.
That's correct.
So, Mr. Pellicore, was there a reason behind that?
Well, I can't say for certain. I have email just history going back to February of 2023, sending reminders about that. And again, I don't have all the dates available to me. I believe the license would have been up in May, I have or May 5th, I believe, and then I have a receipt date from the Liquor Enforcement Division dated May 30th of 2023. But a lot of those other details I do not have available to myself.
Okay, I didn't have any other questions. The application, the tips cards look pretty bulletproof. You guys have a lot of people handling alcohol there. It's big staff on tips training, so that'll look good to me. I didn't have any other questions.
Thank you.
I had one question for Mr. Pellicore. For next year, what have you done to prevent this from happening again? Have you put some things into place?
Yes, absolutely. So not only working with the Treasury Specialist, which is the person that does the actual filing, I've included our operations department from our home office to also be involved in that process. So again, they're the ones that are submitting it, but not just putting the responsibility onto one person, but multiple people. And then from here, myself at the store level, I'll be including multiple other people with my communication with our corporate office as well. I understand turnover can happen and other things can come up, but I will do a better job at communicating to a larger number of people that would work with some of the other people, such as our Treasury Specialist, to make sure these get in at a timely manner.
Thank you, Mr. Pellicore.
You're welcome.
Was there anything else from any other members of the authority? No. Okay. Do we have, is there any motions?
I'll make a motion to accept. It sounds like an oversight with the home office and the local store, and sounds like Mr. Pellicore did try an attempt to not let this happen.
So that's a motion to approve the renewal.
A motion to approve, yes. Oh, I think I said accept. Yes, approve.
Member Absalom will second.
Okay, all in favor? Member Carr, aye.
Member Absalom, aye.
Member Roberts, aye.
All right, so moved. Your renewal is approved.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all your time.
Thank you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Next, we have agenda item 7. So I'm skipping number 6 and I'm going to 7, then we'll come back to 6. Agenda item 7 is public hearing and consideration of an application filed on May 26, 2023 from Nopalitos LLC, DBA Nopalitos, 1805 29th Street, Suite 1138, Boulder, Colorado 80301. Milton Guevara Navas, 90% owner and registered manager, and Dora Guevara Gonzalez, 10% owner with a premise business mailing address for a change of location of a hotel restaurant type liquor license. And I see that Milton is here. And Mr. Guevara, if you'll just unmute yourself and turn your camera on.
Yes, give me 1 second. I'm working on a new computer, so it's kind of hard to.
Please see.
All right.
Is anyone else going to be joining you today?
No, just myself.
Okay. I'll just get you sworn in here. If you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before the Beverage Licensing Authority is true?
Yes, I swear.
And do you swear or affirm that the premise has been posted 10 days prior to today's hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Guevara. So this is a public hearing before the Beverage Licensing Authority of the City of Boulder to determine whether or not the application of Nopalitos LLC, doing business as Nopalitos, for a hotel restaurant type liquor license renewal should be granted or denied. This hearing is conducted pursuant to the laws of the state of Colorado and the rules of the Beverage Licensing Authority of the City of Boulder. The purpose of this hearing is to receive information, data, and testimony by interested parties in order to enable this authority to make findings and reach the conclusions required to be made by state law as to whether or not the license shall be renewed. Interested parties are the applicant, residents of the neighborhood affected by the license as previously determined by the authority, and the owners and managers of the business located within the neighborhood. This hearing shall be limited to the question of whether there is good cause not to renew the license as set forth in the notice of hearing, which was dated on July 31st, 2023. A record is being made of these proceedings, and those who desire to be heard shall identify themselves by stating their name, spelling of their last name, and stating their personal pertinent address. They shall also be sworn in by the board secretary. Does anyone on the authority have a conflict of interest for this item or any ex parte contacts regarding this item? Member Carr, no.
Member Absalom, no.
Member Roberts, no.
Okay, and are there any interested parties or persons present who want to act as witnesses?
Seeing no hands raised.
Seeing no hands raised, and any members of the general public who wish to supply comment?
No hands raised.
Okay, perfect. Before Mr. Guevara, we have you proceed. I see that Christiana, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to note, I think you were reading the script for the renewal. We were going to switch and do the change of location first and then the renewal. So I wanted to mention that we should do the change of location first.
Okay. To be clear, is there another script for the change of location?
I don't think
Okay.
it's necessary to do. I just want to make it clear that we should address the change of location first and then address the renewal afterwards.
Okay, perfect. So we will address, the change of location first and then the renewal after that. Thank you, Christiana.
Thanks. Mhm.
All right, Mr. Guevara, you may proceed.
Yeah, so we're trying to move into we're already into a location inside the 29th Street Mall. The current location that can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool. So we were in the Diagonal Plaza, which is currently half of it's been demolished. And we decided that it was time for us to move out of the old location just because of all the construction that was going on. It was going to cost a lot of traffic. We were going to lose a lot of customers. And then we were probably going to go out of business if we didn't actually make a change to move into a different location. Like we slowly lost a lot of customers during the transition when the building was lost. And then eventually we thought that we were going to go out of business. So we decided to move into this new location that's going to be right in front of 28th. It's going to create more businesses for us. And then, that was the whole idea why we wanted to switch over from one location to another.
Okay. Does anyone from the board have any questions for Mr. Guevara?
Yeah, Mr. Guevara, this is Mike Absalom, BLA. I'm looking at a letter here in the packet from Michonne Cook, and it's dated April 17th, talking about asking you about your change of location. You did respond, and you did say that you had all these things in place during this. So I'm just wondering around the timeline around why did we not see this change of location earlier?
It's because we were trying to wait for the lease to be signed on these locations before we can submit it.
Okay.
And then we were on the talks of we were talking with 29th Street Mall, and it took about 6 months to finalize the details for us to move in. So I didn't want to submit anything before we had anything signed, if that makes any sense.
It does make sense to me. I think maybe just some more communication around that as you're going through that process. When did you take control of the premise?
Around that time. I think it was like we submitted I can't remember but I think it was like right around May when we took over the application, right before that, if I'm not mistaken.
I understand where you're coming from. My suggestion around that would be more communication with city licensing around your timeline and how that was going, because this seems like a pretty urgent email from Michonne. And seeing this group together with the renewal, and I understand you're going through a lot, right? You're moving. It's a big process. I would just like to see some more comms with licensing around what you were doing here, because this seems a little bit rushed around a change of premise, a change of location along with a renewal around this.
And it was definitely rushed because we didn't have, again, we were just trying to get everything worked out with 29th Street Mall, and they just took forever to get back to me. And then by the time we got back with all the letters and a realtor got all the terms and everything ready, that's when I emailed her like as fast as I could, so that I just didn't want to make any promises that I didn't have. But I understand why I need to open up more and then be more open to communicate faster.
Yeah, I think that would be, especially going through this process with a very important liquor license in the city of Boulder, just communicating around that, because I know it's not easy to move around, but that would just be my only thing I would suggest moving forward as things change for you here, and it's changes fast and happens. So that's the only question I had.
Absolutely, you got my word.
Anything else, Leah? Okay. All right. Anything else from you, Mr. Guevara?
No.
Okay. Did anyone want to make a motion to approve the application, transfer the license to a new location?
I'd like to ask Caitlin about the everything squared away tax wise on the new location?
Yes, liquor occupation tax is approved for the renewal of the old. There's not liquor occupation tax for the new yet because it hasn't been approved, but occupation tax is approved for what will be the renewal for the next one, and then sales tax as well.
So then I would just ask that of Christiana, where we stand on that, between this sort of change of location and renewal together. Just what are our rules around that if we don't actually have a new occupation tax and things like that for approving a renewal of a license that we're not sure the tax is paid on?
So I have a first question. When are taxes due at the new location? First due at the new location, like right away, or I guess I'm not sure about the timing on that to be able to answer your question.
I can help. So for liquor
Thank you.
occupation tax, it's prorated. So we bill it in January and July. So we would prorate new applications or change of location or transfer applications based on when they were approved. And that means when the license is issued. So there's a lot of nuances in there, but for this example, I won't be able to approve this location or this application until the state sends me back their license. So once the state sends me back and we do the premise inspection and then we issue, that's when occupation taxes start. So currently they're not accruing occupation tax.
So I guess I'll revamp my question for you, Christiana. Can we approve a renewal for a license that is waiting on a payment? That's my question. Yes, I'm trying to think of I'm trying to look for the rule right now, and I don't.
So I think that it sounds to me, and Caitlin can or Kristen can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like they're current on their any payments due. And so I think that's okay. So they're changing their location. They're processing this renewal. They are current on any payments due. If we find out later for another renewal or something like that they are not current on their payments, then that would become an issue. But right now, I don't think it's an issue. If that makes sense.
And just to be clear, we're making a motion to approve just the transfer of the license first, and then we'll
Just
approve
the change of
renewal.
location. Yes.
Right.
Right.
Change of location.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I guess I was kind of grouping that into the thing we're going to talk about right after this, but we approve the change of location first. And I will make a motion to approve the change of location. Member Absalom.
Member Carr will second that motion. All in favor? Member Carr, aye.
Member Absalom, aye.
Member Roberts, aye.
All right, change of location has been approved. So, all right, Mr. Guevara, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, even though we didn't actually, we didn't open for half of the year, we did pay the sales tax. We did pay the occupation tax for January and July of this year, even though we didn't actually have the location to pay for it, because we were billed by it. We were told that we needed to pay for it, even though we didn't have a location and we were not generating any sales for the year. But we did take care of those bills as well. I mean, just so you guys know that we did pay for those occupational taxes.
Right, because they asked you for that when you signed the lease, right?
Well, no, we were just so when we were talking with our Sean, yeah, when we were talking with her, she mentioned that I needed to take care of the occupation tax in order for me to renew and transfer my location. So we did take care of those taxes, even though we didn't have a location at that point, you know, because we were closed already. But we did pay for those taxes. Just so you guys know.
Thank you. Kristen, did you have something to say? I know she came on camera.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to provide a little bit of clarification around the liquor occupation taxes and how those are assessed. So the liquor occupation tax is required to hold a license, whether or not the licensee is operating. So that's why Nopalitos was required to pay the occupation tax in order to maintain this license, in order to complete the change of location, as opposed to surrendering their license and applying for a brand new license. So that's why the liquor occupation tax was required. I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thanks, Kristen. Okay, I will call agenda item 6 now, which is public hearing and consideration of an application filed on April 7th, 2023 from Nopalitos LLC, DBA Nopalitos, 2850 Iris Avenue, Suite H, Boulder, Colorado, 80301, Milton Guevara Navas, 90% owner and registered manager, and Dora Guevara Gonzalez, 10% owner, with a premise business mailing address for a renewal of a hotel restaurant type liquor license. And Mr. Guevara, I'm going to swear you in one more time for this agenda item. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in front of the Beverage Licensing Authority is true? And do you swear or affirm that the premise has been posted for at least 10 days prior to today's hearing?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect. And Christiana, quick question for you. Do I need to read in the hearing procedures again, since I've already done that?
That is in your discretion. I think you have already read them
Yes.
for this premise, and I don't think it's necessary to read them again if you don't want to.
Thank you. Mr. Guevara, are you okay with me not reading them again? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So Mr. Guevara, I will then turn it over to you to just share your perspective.
Wonderful. Yeah. So, you know, as we move into these new location, we decided that we want to keep the liquor license because I think that our food goes pair really well with, a beer or a margarita when you sit down for a burrito. So, when we were thinking about switching over, we decided that we definitely wanted to bring, the liquor license with us and actually offer liquor on this side of town, which is not very much, So, we feel like we in the past when we were at the old location, we really didn't have a chance to grow because it was very small, but it was good to have people that will come in for a burrito and a beer, and that was pretty much it. We never really did had a crazy bar or anything like that. It was more of a people come in, have a taco and then a beer, and that's kind of like the vibe that we want to create over here as well.
Thank you. Does anyone from the board have any questions?
Mr. Guevara, I have a question here about just one thing about your training here. I'm just seeing, and I see in your renewal application here around the fact that you only have 2 full-time employees, was one of them is yourself.
Yeah, we didn't have anyone in the old location. It was business was from from like maybe 5 p.m. to like 8 p.m. That's when we had people come in and get a margarita. So it wasn't like it was just myself and my wife serving liquor, because we really didn't have any growth, like, but it felt good to have a little bit of a beer for people to come in when they wanted to, even though I wasn't like really making any money at all. But as we come into these new location, we have stated that if we do hire more employees, and this is even something that we have in the on the sign outside at the door, that we are going to pay for every employee that become a bartender. We're going to train them, and we're going to do everything obeying all the laws and making sure that we serve alcohol safe.
Okay, great. So the other thing I'd like to see here is also kind of like a bulletproof alcohol policy for your team, anyone that you do hire. And I highly suggest getting with Nathan Dewey with the RAR. I think you've probably heard of that before.
Yes.
You know who they are? Okay. I think it's good to partner with him immediately because, like you said, that is a unique spot for alcohol service. And I'd like to see, and the rule around 60 days after a hire.
Yeah. So basically the rule that we have implemented within us is like the managers are going to be the ones serving the alcohol for now, because we are going to hire 2 or 3 managers. I feel like manager, it's more inclined to be a better trained for right now, and it's going to be seen as a reward for a manager to be able to like be a bartender for 1 night and 3 nights to be a line employee, So I think that's going to be our policy for now. It's going to be more of like a chance for managers to get trained in food and also be trained in the bar so that we can be more responsible, not just in the bar, but on the food as well.
All right, that's the only questions that I had for now.
I had one question for you, Mr. Guevara. You mentioned that you, in your email to Michonne earlier this year, you mentioned that you would be also getting trained with ABT. Have you scheduled that, or do you have that happening soon?
Yeah, it's happening soon. And then the only reason why we haven't done it, it's because the guy who did my Dora hasn't gotten back to me. But as soon as we get that, I'm going to get that taken care of. So we will not open without me and whoever's going to be in the bar certified, and that is a promise.
Okay, perfect. And I just wanted to echo Mike's comments that having a liquor policy, a serving policy in place is going to be really helpful, and we really like to see that. So absolutely, you're doing a lot of things, I understand, but just to work on something like that would be really appreciated.
Yeah, and then we're definitely going to push. Like again, we're trying to be safe, and we're trying to go the best route. So we're definitely going to start putting all those notes together and make sure that when we open, because we really haven't hired anybody yet. So all those guidelines are going to start coming in place as soon as we start hiring, which is in 2 weeks from now. And that's when all those things are going to become more of alive. And we're definitely going to train and then make sure that we have a policy moving forward and something that's going to be very strong.
Thank you.
And what's your expected open date at the 29th Street location?
So we're hoping for September 15th, based on, we're waiting for the permit from the city to be able to build a bar. And once we build the bar, then we're going to have a more solid date. But as of right now, it's kind of pending on the permit.
Any other comments, questions from the members of the authority? No. Do I hear a motion?
I'd be willing to make a motion, but I would like to maybe have a check back here. So maybe someone, Christiana, can help me around this. My motion would be, I'd make a motion to renew this license with a 60-day check back on proper training and a liquor policy in place, if that's possible.
So you'd like this applicant to return in October, at the October meeting?
That was what my suggestion would be, just because we
Okay.
don't have any proof of training at this point, because Mr. Guevara is going through the hiring process and we won't see this applicant. I think I'd like to see that training in front of us, and along with some more alcohol policies that we can look at before, just to come back and come back to this. So I'll make a motion to approve it with those 2 things, to see this licensee in the October hearing, to see that training.
So that wouldn't be a separate application or anything. And I'm just saying this to clarify for
Yeah.
Mr. Guevara.
No, it would not
No
be.
separate applications, nothing like that. This is just a request or a condition on the motion to
And-
come back in October
I'm
and
I'm
say,
okay with that.
hello. Okay,
Yeah,
all right, great.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, we'll
Mhm.
have that in place, and we're not trying to hide anything. We're trying to make everything by the law. So I'm okay with that, and then we'll put it all together and have it ready.
And Mr. Rivera, we're not saying you're trying to hide anything. You know, I think it's just our responsibility to make sure that we're checking in on something like that because we don't see that in front of us right now. So that the condition on my motion to approve this renewal would be that in 60 days we would see proof of training and a liquor policy in place.
I understand.
Member Carr will second.
That is
motion.
my
I have a quick question.
Oh, sure.
I don't know, it just more of, I don't know. If Mr. Guevara was, or like, is there a file that he could like add his policy to that we could like, that is just there, you know what I mean? Like get it added to that whole file that we see of everything? Mike,
You
would
mean-
you?
Yeah, you mean instead of him coming back and seeing us, if he could submit that proof? Yeah, I think I'm definitely willing to explore that option. If city licensing is in receipt of those training policies in October, along with, you know, the proof of training, I'd be willing to accept that as well, rather than making Mr. Rivera come back.
Okay, so how about this? For to amend your motion, we could say that the renewal or move to approve the renewal application on the condition that one of two things happens, right? Either Mr. Guevara submit to the city licensing team his alcohol policy and the training certifications prior to October. What is the October meeting date? Or what is the
Yeah, it
date
would
that
be
we have the packet to do?
right. I would say when we post in October, which would be probably early October.
October 18th would be the scheduled meeting, and public postings would then be on October 8th.
Okay,
And
so,
packet materials
Mhm.
for packet would be due October 9th.
okay. So how about we have either just submit to city licensing the policy and the certifications just by email, for example, on or before October 8th. And if that doesn't happen, then if we don't get that by October 8th, then we'll have them come back in and attend the meeting in October on October 18th to just check in with the BLA.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Not a pretty motion, but hopefully it's clear.
Not my previous motion, I know.
All right, all in favor of this motion? Member Carr, aye.
Member Absalom, aye.
Member Roberts, aye.
Okay, so moved. Mr. Guevara, your renewal is approved based on those conditions.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Good luck, Mr. Guevara.
you.
You went through a lot with
Thank
that
you.
construction over there. So
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're actually painting right now, so there's a lot of fumes in here. So thank you so much.
That's exciting. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, we will move on to agenda item 8, which is public hearing and consideration of an application filed on June 8th, 2023 from the Hapa Group Inc., DBA Hapa Sushi Grill and Sake Bar, 1048 Pearl Street, Suite 105, Boulder, Colorado 80302. Mark Van Grack, 76.5% owner, president, and registered manager, and Aaron Nakamichi, 22.5% owner and vice president of operations, with the premise business mailing address for a modification of a hotel restaurant type liquor license. And I'll also draw the board's attention to the fact that this transfer is administrative. It's in the administrative process of a transfer for this location as well, which is just kind of dependent on modification. So There, you
So-
see that. Yeah.
Caitlin, to be clear, we don't need to like make a motion to approve this at this time.
No, so you're gonna hear the modification. I'm just letting you know that later on in the agenda, there's an administrative approval of a transfer for the same location. So they're modifying the location of their transfer to, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
yes, no problem. And I have some people with their hands raised. If anyone else would like to speak on this matter, go ahead and raise your hand and I'll promote you to panelist. Okay, and I see Jessica Brookhart is here. Jessica, is anyone else going to be appearing with you?
I do have no one else from the HAPA group, but I either have Eva Garrettson or Sylvie Camino for Needs and Desires from Liquor Pros.
Great, I see Eva. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and swear you in if you'll just raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in front of the Beverage Licensing Authority is true?
Yes,
I do.
And do you swear or affirm that the premise has been posted for at least 10 days prior to today's hearing?
yes.
Go ahead and proceed.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Me-
Thank you.
oh.
Do you have an attorney, Jessica, or just?
I do not have an attorney with me today.
Okay.
Yes.
So then I will read the hearing procedures into the record and then we'll proceed. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this is a public hearing before the Beverage Licensing Authority of the City of Boulder to determine whether or not the application of, let's see, the HAPA Group Incorporated doing business as HAPA Sushi and Sake located at 1048 Pearl Street, Suite 105. For a request to modify their premises for a hotel restaurant liquor license shall be granted or denied. This hearing is conducted pursuant to the laws of the state of Colorado and the rules of the Beverage Licensing Authority of the City of Boulder. The purpose of this hearing is to receive information, data, and testimony by interested parties in order to enable this authority to make the findings and reach the conclusions required to be made by state law as to whether or not the premise may be altered. Interested parties are the applicant, residents of the neighborhood affected by the license as previously determined by the authority, and the owners and managers of a business located in the neighborhood under consideration. A record is being made of these proceedings. Those who desire to be heard shall identify themselves by stating their name, spelling their last name, and stating their pertinent address. They shall also be sworn in by the board secretary. Does anyone on the authority today have a conflict of interest for this item or any ex parte contacts regarding this item they wish to disclose? Member Carr, no.
Member Absalom, no.
Member Roberts, no.
Okay, are there any interested parties present or persons who will act as witnesses for interested parties? Not seeing any hand raised. Are there any members of the general public who wish to supply comment? Also not seeing any hand raised. Okay, Ms. Brockhart, are you prepared to proceed?
I am.
All right, go ahead.
Jessica Brookhart, Brookhart. I am the VP of Business and Liquor Licensing over here at HAPA Sushi with an address of, should I give our business address? Is that what you're asking for? Or my home address?
We're asking for the business address, I believe. Is
Okay,
that
great.
correct?
745 Walnut Street, Boulder, Colorado 80302 is the corporate office for HAPA. And so I guess the first thing I'd like to go through is a little bit of history with HAPA for those that may or may not know. We have been at our current location where we are operating now at 1117 Pearl Street in Boulder, which is just, a block and a half away of our the location that we're asking for the modification for. We've been there for 20 years and our lease finally expired this summer. And so we are still in the location with an extension on that property with the landlord and signed a lease at the 1048 Pearl Street location in February of last year. So we're now a year and a half into a process of modifying that location. So when we moved into that location, or when we signed the lease on that location, we have not moved in there yet. When we signed the lease on that location, it had a liquor license. Eureka Burger Bar was there. And we decided that obviously it would be a little bit easier to transfer that license and keep our old license, you know, at 1117 Pearl instead of having to like transfer licenses around from location, from address to address. And so we originally transferred that application. In the process of transferring, as you all know, and I'm going into the transfer as well too, because I think it is pertinent to what's going on. So the transfer took a while at the state level. And in the meantime, because of construction schedules, et cetera, we actually had to start demoing that building during the process of the transfer of the license. So the transfer actually came through before I could actually submit a modification because we didn't have all the plans or anything in place. So things happened a little backwards here, but we haven't really, you know, there's been no service in that establishment, that address at the moment. So right now we are almost complete with our build out, and the license is up for renewal again, the one that we have not yet transferred. So I think, you know, I know how that works a little bit. We'll submit that transfer or the renewal after this conversation. But the modification, we are scheduled to take over the location as a restaurant at the end of October. So we're about 2.5 months out from at least receiving the space, you know, to the Hoppa Group, and then we're a couple of weeks out. So we're looking at like mid-November for an opening date for the location. The modification to the premise is because Eureka was one storefront with 3,812 square feet. And we signed a lease with the landlord for an additional 2.5 spaces. So Eureka was in space 105. We signed a lease for 106, 107, and a portion of 109. And so we are requesting the modification to add on to 105 an additional 817 square feet from unit 106, an additional 768 feet from unit 107, and an additional 200 square feet from unit 109. We're also requesting an expansion of the patio from 425 original square feet that were kind of in that little alcove area to an additional 675 that will be in the right of way on the Pearl Street side. So we are hoping that this modification can be approved through you all so that we can continue to serve the Boulder public, you know, our same product that will be that we have at our 1117 Pearl Street. We will move all of our current employees over to the new location. All the certifications will come with them. We'll have to hire more. This is a little bit larger location than it was. Just for some reference to the original location of Eureka would have been about the same size as our current location. So moving from one location to the next wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense business-wise. I mean, it's great, it's new, it would have been beautiful, but we wanted a little bit of extra space. We've been tapped out. We had that additional patio space for a while during COVID, and that was really helpful for our business during that time. And we would like to, you know, have a larger patio. As it stands, our patio has, you know, 6 little tables on there, and they are definitely fought over for the customers, especially during the summer months. So that is the summary of what the modification of premise would include for now.
Thank you, Ms. Brookhart. Do any members of the, I think we should also allow Liquor Bros to also share.
Thank you, Member Carr. Good afternoon, members of the authority. For the record, my name is Eva Garrettson, last name Garretson, one of the owners of Liquor Licensing Professionals doing business as Liquor Pros. Conducted the needs and desires survey regarding the modification of a hotel and restaurant liquor license for Hoppa, Sushi, and Sake. Once again, taking Ms. Brookhart's explanation, and we went ahead and we transferred that or relayed that back to the business owners, managers, and residents inside the neighborhood. And I apologize, Mr. Carr. My address is 5515 Saddle Rock Place here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So we performed this survey on Thursday, July 27th and Friday, July 28th. Made attempted contact with 468 business owners, managers, and residents inside the area, and obtained a total of 129 signatures. 48 were from business owners and managers, started our way in close, kept a nice little tight circle in there. All 48 signed in favor at 100%. We then had 81 residential signatures with 80 signing in favor at 99%, 1 opposed. We do ask those folks to write in why they are in favor or opposed to this license. They declined to provide a reason, so we count that as a valid reason of opposition. But if we combine these totals, we have 128 signatures signing in favor at 99%, 1 opposed at 1%. Once again, given the fact that there are a plethora of other licenses of similar type, the fact that this is a modification and the 99% still shows a positive need and desire for the modification in this area for this liquor license. Once again, we are a third-party company, so we do not guarantee results for this, and I can answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Any questions for either Ms. Garrison? Is Ms. Garrison, right? Yes, Ms. Garrison or Ms. Brookhart from the members of the authority? I did have one question. This is really from regarding the public right of way, actually. Do we have approval for that? Has the city approved that? This would be for Kate.
Yeah. So we are like so close to approval. They made they had us make a lot of changes to our site plan for that patio space. And it sounds kind of silly, but we were going in between 8-foot and 10-foot umbrellas. And so they just received that on Monday, and they were supposed to just send over signatures. So it was basically approved. They just wanted us to remove some extraneous lines, et cetera, and then they would approve that. That was Alex over at planning.
Are there any other questions from members of the authority?
Yeah, Member Carr, I think you make a good point, though. Just again, kind of like a point of order here. If we do approve this modification, are we still waiting on the city to say yes from zoning? I think that was a good point you made there. I mean, what I'm looking at right now, based on Mrs. Brookhart's testimony here, I think it looks fine to me, but I am not in zoning. So I'm totally willing to make a motion around this if we're there, but I'm not sure if we are still waiting on something from another department of city government to make a suggestion on that.
I would say that I might even be able to get it while I'm on this call. But if that's something that you want me to submit over to you once that is received hopefully this week. I know it was not a smooth process to get us through the right of way. There was apparently a change in their system and people and short staff and, kind of the whole story around a lot of places at the moment. And so that was a stumbly process to get us through the row.
Kristen, I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you. So I just wanted to point out that in the zoning review for this application, there is no outdoor space that's been approved. And so what the board is reviewing right now is just the indoor premises. And if the licensee would like to add an outdoor premises down the road, that they'll need to complete another modification of premises, and they'll likely need to appear before the board again for that modification.
I believe that modification is actually on there for the patio, is it not?
I'm reviewing the diagram and the zoning disposition, and it says 0 outdoor seats, and there's no patio on the diagram for the zoning disposition.
Okay.
And that would also make sense if you haven't received approval yet from Planning and Development Services. If it hasn't been approved by their department, then it's not something that would be included in that zoning disposition.
Okay.
And Kristen, in our packet here, I'm looking at page 101. I am looking at the indoor diagram here, right? That's not, it says meets walkway code. Are those 2 4-tops in that diagram referencing an outdoor area? Because I see the diagram above it is comprehensive and it does not include the patio, like you said. but the one below it is,
No, I think you're looking, I don't think what you're looking at has the patio on it, and
right, so that's just dark, that's just inside the dining room, so there's nothing for patio here on this modification.
are you looking at it before and after? Or no?
I'm on page 99 of the packet right now,
Okay, let me look.
and I'm looking at, this is the comprehensive space.
It does appear to me on page 99 that there are some patios, there is some patio seating on there. In the diagram, unless I'm reading that incorrectly, because when I'm looking at furniture and equipment, I'm also seeing patio chairs and
Yeah, that's the current patio.
Umbrellas.
What's really looking really strange to me right now is there's a line right where the patio would be. If you're looking at page 99, there actually is a patio right where there's kind of a blank
Mhm.
line.
But then again, like, what is page 101 is referencing what part of page 99?
Oh, let's look at 101. I actually have no idea where that exhibit came from. I think that may have come from the amendment to our lease, which added that 200 square feet that you're looking at right now on the private dining.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
that is actually not part of a site plan that I submitted as part of a site plan. But page 99 is a little strange to me. Yeah, I mean, if that is what you're saying and that you're looking at a modification just for the current space and the patio that existed, which would have been, 300 that you're actually seeing on the page, which would be the west side of the location currently. Do you see that on page 99? There are some patio tables on the top of the page, which would be the west side.
I see that.
So those are patio tables, and they would loop around in an L on the front side of Pearl with the row. But these were approved with the current license with Eureka.
Kristen?
If I may, I think that there's just a little bit of confusion here, and I'd like to take just a 10-minute recess if we could for staff to just kind of look into this and give you a more definitive answer. Would that be all right with the board?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a
Thank
motion to
you.
approve.
Okay, so we'll return here, and do we need to make a motion, or can we just return here in 10 minutes?
I do not think a motion is needed.
I don't think
Okay.
a motion is needed.
So
No,
we will
no.
reconvene. We'll reconvene at 4:20.
Yeah, cool. 4:20.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Hello, everyone. Are you?
Caitlin? I apologize to the members of the authority. I actually have to drive all the way up to Adams County by 6 o'clock. And I'm in Colorado Springs, so place your bets. But Sylvie Semino is jumping on. I didn't know if you want anything more from me on this matter, because we have the next two matters coming in, and so she'll jump on for those two, but I didn't know if the authority had anything else for me or if I could be excused for this one.
I think that, does anyone else on the authority have any questions? No? All right. Yeah, Ms. Garrison, you can be excused then. Thank you for your
Thank
testimony
you
today.
so much. I will see y'all on the next one. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Good luck getting to Adams County.
Good luck.
Thank you so much to the board for allowing us to take that brief recess and do a little bit of research on this. I've asked Kristen Teague, our licensing analyst, to jump on the meeting today since she was processing this application and can provide a little bit of context around the patio.
Yes, good afternoon, Beverage Licensing Authority members, and I see we've got Jessica and staff available. Yes. For this application, even though the notice of disposition from Planning and Development Services does indicate a patio, it is my understanding that they have not yet been approved for the patio and are waiting finalization for revocable lease. Jessica, I believe that is correct. Previously, when this has happened with the Beverage Licensing Authority, we have had a few. Mike, you may remember, we have, if the Beverage Licensing Authority moves to approve the license, they've approved the license with the condition that the patio is excluded until such time that proof of possession for the patio can be obtained, and then the licensing staff member that performs the inspection will inspect for the main license premises. And then once the patio is granted, we go back and re-inspect and then include the patio within the entire license premises. Is that your recollection too, Member Absalom?
That is correct. Yes. Thank you, Kristen. That's what I was thinking about, and that makes total sense to me.
Right. I do apologize for that confusion. I probably should have put a note in with the application.
Thanks, Kristen. So do we, is our motion to approve based on Kristen's recommendation?
Member Absalom make a motion to approve the modification of the license premise.
Member Roberts will second that.
All in favor? Member Carr, aye.
Member Absalom, aye.
Member Roberts, aye.
All right, so moved. You are, it's been approved.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I will be in contact with Kristen over here once we get that final approval on the patio. Thank you, Kristen.
Hey, Christiana, did you have something to add?
I just want to make it extra, especially clear that, you know, what Kristen Teague just said was part of your motion, correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
So I guess I can just go ahead and affirm the condition.
Yeah.
Condition to my motion is that we will wait for the zoning authority to go through on the patio. And once that goes through, we will go ahead and approve that modification.
It will be included in the modification. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Included in this modification. Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can I ask one
Thank you.
question real quick, actually just unrelated, but related to the transfer? I know it's on here as the administrative piece. So does that require a comment from me? Do I need to be there for that? I know that that was kind of just something that had been approved by the state, but obviously you guys couldn't approve it because we were dealing with this modification, or is that something that would then be approved after the modification goes through and then the transfer goes through? And honestly, the only reason it's really important to me right now is because I am sitting on the renewal for that location for this upcoming year. And I want to understand what my process will be with that renewal so that I don't file it late.
Okay. Maybe someone from the, I'm not entirely sure the answer to that.
Be Kristen or Caitlin would be able to.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm able to answer that as I did take the transfer for this as well. The transfer was taken and sent in and approved at the state level. So we do have the state license back. However, we could not inspect and issue the city license for this due to the permanent modification. Once the permanent modification has been approved and we receive that back and are ready to inspect, we will go ahead and release the licenses and the permanent modification for this location. Under the state liquor code, there are provisions where if an location is under construction, that they should go ahead and submit their renewal during this time. You've seen a couple of those before come through here. So it would be my recommendation that you do indeed make sure you timely file that renewal.
So I guess this maybe isn't the platform for this, but I did submit it, and she, I forget who it was. She's a little bit newer to the licensing department, I believe, but she said that she wasn't processing that renewal because it wasn't in her system.
Jessica, if you don't mind, if we could take this conversation offline and maybe connect tomorrow and talk through some of your questions, and
Totally.
And we're happy to help you. I'll shoot you an email and we can set up a meeting together tomorrow.
Perfect. That sounds great. Thanks so much. Sorry to take some extra time there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next we have agenda item number 9, public hearing and continued consideration of an application filed on May 12th, 2023 from Bookcliff LLC, DBA Bookcliff Vineyards, 1501 Lee Hill Drive, Unit 17, Boulder, Colorado 80304, Tectonic Enterprises, 100% owner, Christopher Allison, managing member and proposed registered manager, Jordan Dickard, managing member, and William K. Thompson, managing member, with the premise business mailing address for a new Vintners restaurant type liquor license. And I do see that Mr. Saban and Mr. Allison are here, so I'll get them in. Okay. And Mr. Allison, will anyone else be appearing with you besides Mr. Saban? For this?
If William Thompson is on, he may join on video as well.
Okay, I see William Thompson. And then there's Liquor Bros. Is Liquor Bros also appearing for this one?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Will promote them as well. Okay, great. And then Mr. Allison, are you the only one who will be giving testimony, or Mr. Thompson, will you also be giving testimony?
Should just be me giving testimony unless there's any questions directed towards Mr. Thompson.
Okay. And then Sylvie, I believe, has taken over for Liquor Bros. If you'll turn on your camera and unmute for me so I can get you sworn in.
There we are.
Okay. Hello. All right, if you will raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is true and correct?
I do.
I do.
And do you swear or affirm that the premise has been posted for at least 10 days prior to today's hearing?
I do. Yes, we posted it. Yes.
Thank you. And I'll hand it over to the board and Mr. Tapen.
Perfect. Mr. Stapen, would you just identify yourself for the record, please?
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is Adam Stapen, S-T-A-P-E-N. I'm an attorney licensed to practice law here in Colorado. Registration number 27506, business address 455 Sherman, Suite 300, Denver 80203.
Thank you, Mr. Stapen. And would you be okay with waiving the hearing procedures, reading the hearing procedures?
We sure will. Thank you.
Perfect. Then I'll let you proceed.
Thank you. Obviously, this is a do-over from last hearing or last agenda that we had where we had an issue with the posting. And so obviously I want to apologize again for that issue. But we're here seeking a new Vintners restaurant license for a location that is already licensed. And so you're going to hear from Mr. Allison that the reason why we're seeking a new retail license instead of having a supplier level license is because Mr. Allison has interest in restaurants up in northern Colorado. We're not adding a new license to your neighborhood. We're not adding anything new to your backyard. This is essentially a purchase of the winery, but because of that, we have to change over the licenses in furtherance of the acquisition. Obviously, we do have Sylvie, and I see Sylvie right there, and she and her team circulated petitions in furtherance of this new retail class license. So I would like to call Sylvie first to testify as to the needs and desires, and we'll have Mr. Allison speak as to who these folks are, what they intend to do, and how they're going to operate your backyard.
And Mr. Staben, I apologize. I forgot to ask the authority members if there's any conflict of interest. or any interested parties. So let me just go ahead and do that before you call your witnesses. Yeah, so are there any authority members here who do have a conflict of interest at this time or any ex parte contacts that they would disclose? Member Carr, no.
Member Absalom, no.
Member Roberts, no.
Okay, and then are there any interested parties or persons who will act as witnesses for interested parties? Please raise your hand now.
No hands.
And no hands. And then are there any members of the general public who wish to supply comment?
No hands.
Thank you. Mr. Stapen, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill, I apologize for jumping the gun as well. Sylvie, can you hear us okay?
Yes, yes.
Would you please state and spell your name for the record and also give your address?
Yes, my name is Sylvie Semino, and I am currently the co-owner of Liquor Licensing Professionals. We do business as Liquor Pros here in the state of Colorado. And we conducted the needs and desires petition survey regarding Bookcliff Vineyards for a new vintner's restaurant type of liquor license. So we conducted this survey on Tuesday, June 27th, Wednesday, June 28th, between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. There was one circulator for this survey. Prior to the start of the survey, we usually, converse with the circulator. We brief them on the type of license application, provide them with packets that include the face sheet with preamble, application, hearing information, instructions, and a map of the defined area of the survey. And then the circulator will document all contacts, attempts on our tally sheets, and then they will sign their notarized affidavit of circulation at the conclusion of the survey. We made contact and attempt with 68 businesses and 302 residents, totaling 370 attempts for both business and residential. Of those, we did obtain 120 signatures. 35 of those signatures were from businesses, with 35 in favor at 100%. And then there were 85 residential signatures, 84 in favor at 99%, and one was opposed at 1%. After conducting this survey petition regarding this liquor license, we feel that there is a positive need and desire for this license type at that physical location. We are an unbiased survey company, and we conduct our surveys in that manner, and we collect yeses as well as nos. Can I answer any questions? Anybody?
If you don't mind giving your address, I think you covered it all. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, I forgot about that. 5515 Saddle Rock Place, and that is in Colorado Springs, Colorado 80918.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions. I don't know if the authority has questions or not.
Any questions from the authority? Not seeing any.
I would ask that Sylvie be excused from the hearing.
I have one more still, so I got stand. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Allison, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Can you please state and spell your name and also give your address?
Yeah, Christopher Allison. Last name is spelled Allison. My personal address is 10063 Grove Court, Unit C. That's Westminster, Colorado 80031.
And Mr. Allison, what is your current occupation?
Yeah, currently I work as a senior manager of regulatory affairs at a company in Broomfield called Sierra Space.
And it's my understanding you also have ownership interest in the hospitality industry as well.
Yeah, so I'm also a 50% owner in a restaurant group that owns 3 independently owned and operated restaurants in northern Colorado that serve pizza, pasta, as well as beer, wine, and then hard spirits.
How long have you been a part owner of that restaurant group?
Yeah, my ownership began on January 1st, 2017.
Have you had any liquor violations under your ownership?
No.
Obviously, you're here seeking a new vintner's restaurant. Why don't you tell the authority a little bit about your passion for wine and kind of what drove you to reach this point at this point in time?
Sure. So on the call here, you see on video myself, as well as one of our partners, Will, Mr. Thompson, and then a third partner, Mr. Dickard. So Mr. Dickard and I have a long history, went to college together, both aerospace engineering background in Boulder. At that time, had different jobs around the country, but always found kind of a reason to get together and go visit different wine countries around the country. So we enjoyed wine for a long time, and then we ventured into the world of making amateur wine. And that hobby grew to a point that our wives kind of were like, so what are y'all doing with this? Which kind of took us to the point of seeking to get licensed and go to the next level in terms of production. At that point, we had started working with the current Bookcliff Vineyards that is currently licensed in Boulder, just in a kind of advisory capacity as well as mentorship capacity, and learned about Will's desire to also, become part of ownership of a winery. And then the current owners, John and Ula of Bookcliff Vineyards, having a desire to sell and retire. So that's where this opportunity presented itself from.
And Bookcliff Vineyards has a location in Boulder that we're asking the authority here to grant the Vintner's Restaurant for, but it also has another location in Palisade. Is that correct?
That's correct. They have a tasting room in Palisade.
And in furtherance of your acquisition of Bookcliff Vineyards, we had a hearing in Mesa County for the approval of a Vintner's Restaurant, and that was granted. Is that correct?
That is. It was conditionally approved upon final health inspection at that location.
Okay, and so we're essentially seeking the same thing to happen here within the city of Boulder.
Correct.
When you close, or if you close, depending if the liquor authority approves your application, what changes, if any, do you plan on doing to the current facility?
Yeah, we intend to assume the facility as is. Given that it's a Vintner's Restaurant license, there is a 15% on-premise sales of food condition on that license. So we would be adding, pre-prepared charcuterie type options, small sandwiches, those types of things in order to be in compliance with that portion of the license.
Other than that, essentially, for someone who's not aware of the liquor authority or ongoing liquor license or your acquisition, no one's going to really know it's changed over ownership if I walk in before closing versus walking in after closing, but for a larger food selection and ability to purchase.
That is correct. That is our intent.
And you've probably heard that this authority cares deeply about alcohol training and your policies. So can you please describe to the authority what your folks are going to do to make sure they're trained for alcohol sales and what your alcohol sales policies are going to be?
Absolutely. So as part of the sale of the business, we are novating overall current employees from the business. All employees, 100% of them that are in a service capacity are TIPS trained. So we are inheriting employees that already meet that training certification. All of the ownership, as well as our spouses, have also conducted TIPS training. We have those certificates that we can present if needed. And then further, we have an employee handbook, which states an alcohol policy that all employees, again, in a service capacity would be TIPS trained, and then has protocols in it in terms of dealing with, avoiding serving underage minors.
So obviously you understand the importance of the training and ensuring that alcohol does not reach the hands of a minor and or somebody visibly intoxicated within your facility.
That is absolutely correct.
Anticipate closing this transaction should this liquor license be granted by Boulder?
Yeah, so assuming we have a positive approval today, we still have to, finalize things with the state and TTB. But assuming that happens, our target date of closure of the sale, which, just to be clear, the sale is contingent on these licenses being approved, would be Monday, September 11.
Great. I don't have any further questions from you, Mr. Allison. Do you have anything further you'd like to advise the authority at this point in time?
At this point, I just want to thank the board for the consideration, and we're excited to be able to provide a retirement opportunity for the current owners, and then provide an opportunity for us to get into the business and continue the legacy of Colorado wine here in the state, as well as Boulder.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions. The authority may ask some questions of you, Mr. Allison.
Thank you, Mr. Allison. Does anyone from the board have any questions? I do have a question for you, Mr. Allison. I noticed in your application here is that you mentioned that you you do not have a written alcohol policy yet, or you haven't included it within your application, and you will be putting it in the employee handbook once finalized, and it will be ready for the employee signature prior to handling or prior to opening. Is that policy completed? Do you have a copy of that?
Sure. Yeah. So at the time of filing, we did not have that completed. At this point, we do have an employee handbook. And as I mentioned, as part of our onboarding process at point of sale, when we novate over those employees, that they will perform signature against that policy.
Okay. And the second question for you is, are you familiar with the Responsible Retailer Association?
Yes, we are familiar.
Okay. One thing I would urge you to do is connect with Nathan Dewey and to join that as well, to make sure that your alcohol policy is following best practices and that you're getting tips and everything from his organization.
Great. Thank you for the recommendation.
Any other thoughts, questions, comments from members of the authority?
Can you talk a little bit about your other restaurants and how you're involved with those and how those are run, and if you've ever run into any issues?
Sure. So I grew up in the restaurant industry. These particular restaurants, my parents started at least one of the locations prior to me being born. And then throughout my life, kind of expanded that. And, similar story, my father got to the end and said, I am ready to retire. So at the time, his regional manager, who was operating the 3 locations, and myself teamed up 50-50 partners to purchase the business. So my business partner is operationally a day-to-day partner in the business, deals with, employee hiring, firing, day-to-day service, those kind of things. My role is in the capacity of more of like a CFO, financial, marketing type stuff. In terms of, since our tenure of owning the business, there's been no issues in terms of any violations or findings against our practices with the liquor licenses.
Thank you.
Sure.
I would like to make a motion to approve this, but like we do with Mr. Guevara, I would like to have the liquor policy or the handling policy on hand before you actually reopen. Do you have a date for that, or when that would be happening?
Yeah, I mean, so our target, assuming approval today, sounds like potentially conditional approval on seeing that. Our target date of closing on the sale would be Monday, September 11. But at this point, I think we're ready to provide a copy of that employee handbook at the ready.
Okay, so yeah, that I would make a motion to approve this based as long as we were able to have the employee handbook prior to your reopening.
And just to confirm, the employee handbook would also have the alcohol policy.
Yeah, there is a clause in there particular to alcohol policy as well as training.
Yeah, and to be clear, that's what I'm focused on. It's just the alcohol policy.
Yeah, we may just
handbook.
Yeah, to prevent you from
checking.
generating paperwork, we will send you an excerpt of that.
Thank you.
Just checking, there's also an enormous thunderstorm, I'm sure, going outside of everyone's window right now, so I got a little distracted.
Are we going to do the same condition we did with this last condition in terms of what are we seeing for training here? Proof of training. Are you seeing anything in the packet? Because I'm not seeing it.
That's a good question. I see that everyone is tips trained, but I don't actually see the tips training certificates.
Yeah, so the tips training occurred after we filed the application, but we do all the ownership and our spouses have training completed. We have those certificates. We can provide those.
I agree. We should have those certificates on file along with the alcohol policy, serving policy. So conditional approval based, I'll make a motion to approve this conditionally based on us having certificates of tips training and the alcohol policy prior to your opening after sale.
I would second that motion. Member Absalom.
All in favor? Member Carr, aye.
Member Absalom, aye.
Member Roberts, aye.
Okay, so moved. And Caitlin, would you, I guess, work with Mr. Allison and Mr. Stapleton to make sure we have those documents?
Yes, and this is my application, so I'll be the one that will be issuing anyway. So yep, I will make sure that they have those.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna get everyone back where they belong. Okay. All right. Next we have, and I'm sorry, before we go to agenda item 10, I do want to let you guys know that Mr. Dewey from RAR is here and he has asked to speak to you. He just had a family thing that made him late. So I asked him if it would be okay if he could speak after agenda item 10, if that's okay with you guys. Okay, great. We'll move on to agenda item 10 then. Public hearing and consideration of an application filed on June 14th, 2023 from Granite Building Bar LLC, DBA Garage Sale Vintage, 1701 Pearl Street, Suite 100, Boulder, Colorado 80302. Good Baby Management LLC, 9101 Harlan Street, Suite 135, Westminster, Colorado 8031. With Joshua Sampson, sole member as 100% owner of Granite Building Bar LLC, DBA Garage Sale Vintage. Joshua Sampson, member with the premise mailing address of 1701 Pearl Street, Suite 100, Boulder, Colorado 80302 for a new tavern type liquor license. And if you are here to speak on this matter, go ahead and raise your hand. Okay. I see Mr. Renko is here and Mr. Sampson. And Mr. Renko, will anyone else be appearing, do you believe, besides Mr. Sampson? Mr. Renko or Mr. Sampson, is anyone else going to be appearing for this matter, do you believe? No.
Oh, sorry, still
No, you're okay.
nobody else other than us.
No problem. And Mr. Sampson, if you'll go ahead and raise your hand, and I see Sylvia is also here for this one. If you will go ahead and raise your right hand, both of you, I'll swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the statements you're about to give before the Beverage Licensing Authority are true?
Yes.
And do you swear or affirm that the premise has been posted 10 days prior to today's hearing?
Yes.
And Sylvia, I'll have to swear you in again just for this matter.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm that the statements you're about to give before the Beverage Licensing Authority are true?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I'll let the board proceed.
Thank you, Caitlin. Mr. Runco, would you like to waive the hearing procedures? The
Yes,
record?
we will waive the hearing procedures.
Okay, perfect. Could you identify yourself for the record?
Yep. Robert Runco, attorney registration 41932, here on behalf of the applicant with the law firm of Runco and Profit at 1616 17th Street, Suite 362, Denver, Colorado 80202.
Perfect. Do any authority members have any conflict of interest for this item, or do you have any ex parte contact regarding this item that you wish to disclose now? Member Carr, no.
Member Absalom, no.
Member Roberts, no.
All right. Are there any interested parties present or any persons who would like to act as witnesses for interested parties? Not seeing any hands. Are there any members of the general public who wish to supply comment? Also not seeing any hands. All right, Mr. Runco, you may proceed.
Thank you. And again, in the interest of Ms. Amino's time, I believe we are the last one for her today. So we will let her do her presentation in regards to the petitioning that they performed for this applicant.
Great, thank you. Again, my name is Sylvie Semino, and my address is 5515 Saddle Rock Place, Colorado Springs, Colorado 80918. And again, I am a co-owner of Liquor Pros, doing liquor licensing professionals doing business as Liquor Pros. And we did conduct the needs and desires petition survey regarding a new tavern liquor license for garage sale vintage. Again, I just want to remind everyone that we are an unbiased survey company, and we do take no's as well as yeses. And we don't persuade anybody to sign in any way, either yes or no. The survey was conducted Thursday, July 27th, Friday, July 28th, and August 4th, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. Prior to the start of the survey, the circulators were briefed on the type of license application, provided with the packets, face sheets, preamble, and hearing information, instructions, and a map of the defined area of this survey. There were 3 circulators. All of the circulators documented all contacts, attempts on tally sheets and signed notarized affidavits of circulation at the conclusion of the survey. Contact was attempted with 120 businesses, 386 residents, totaling 506 attempts. Of those, we did obtain 129 signatures. 43 signatures were from businesses, with 43 in favor at 100%, 86 residential signatures, 85 in favor at 99%, 1 opposed at 1%. After we conducted this survey, and I personally worked on this one, we really feel that there is a positive need and desire for this applicant and this type of license at that location. Can I answer any questions?
Looking like no questions from the authority. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. And we will now move on to Mr. Sampson. And Mr. Sampson, can you please, for the record, state your full name, spell your last name, and give us your home address?
Yep, Joshua Sampson, 3472 West 33rd Ave, Denver, Colorado, 80211. And it's SAMPSON.
Thank you. And can you give us, I know it was read in earlier, but can you just remind us your title as it relates to, we'll call it garage sale tonight?
Owner.
And as the owner, are you familiar with the day-to-day operations of garage sale?
Yes.
Can you describe for the authority your individual history in the alcohol industry?
Yes, I've been in the liquor industry since about 1999, as an owner, as a manager, as in various other roles in distribution.
And in that roughly 23, 24 years in the industry, have you ever received any liquor license violations?
No.
And garage sale itself is a concept that's been around for a few years. Is that correct?
Yes.
Approximately how long?
Started in September of 2020 in the middle of the pandemic.
Okay. And how many locations does garage sale have now?
Boulder will be number 5.
And those various locations, since they have been up and running, have you had any liquor license violations at any of those locations?
No.
Can you give us a brief overview of the concept of garage sale?
Yeah, we're first and foremost a bar that serves rolled quesadillas and nachos and hot dogs, but we sell drinks and we sell vintage clothing. Predominantly bar, but the vintage is very powerful.
I've heard you, I know this is sometimes confusing for people. So maybe tie it up a little bit. I've heard you refer to it in the past as, kind of like a Cracker Barrel analogy. I don't want to say a hipster Cracker Barrel, but is that kind of the vibe?
Yeah, I mean, light years of evolution past Cracker Barrel. But yeah, that's right. With the whole idea is like a retail hospitality, the future of what that could look like. And you see some retail people putting bars in and things, but I think we got that formula right with the bar focused with the retail supplemental.
And this location is going to match kind of that concept.
Yeah, it's going to be the same as the others. And in fact, we wanted Boulder to be the main location, but it's just taken 2.5 years to get to this point.
And again, with that concept, I know you said primarily a bar, but in that concept, you are able to satisfy the requirements of a tavern license with the alcohol being the primary purpose of the business?
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned kind of your food options as it relates to sandwiches and light snacks. You said taquitos and tacos, or what was that again?
Rolled quesadillas, beer brats, and nachos.
What sort of alcohol beverages do you have? Is it a full bar or is it kind of a limited menu type thing?
It is a full bar. We range from margaritas to beer to wine.
And what are your anticipated hours of operation?
About 10 to 10.
And will the food be available during all of those operating hours?
Yes.
And again, if you are approved for the license today, when do you hope to be ready to open for business?
We will start construction today, and we'll probably be ready to go in 6 to 8 weeks.
You mentioned that this location, you kind of hope it to be kind of like the flagship location. What is it about Boulder or this location specifically that attracted you to this space?
Well, particularly Boulder, we're an upcycle brand, trying to save the world through reusing and promoting sustainable fashion is our whole thing, kill fast fashion. And Boulder seems to be aligned with our goals of our company, what we're trying to do. And so that's really the main reason that we're stoked to be in Boulder. We're can't be more perfect in our eyes.
And are you aware of any other concepts like this, like garage sale in the area?
No.
I want to talk a little bit about alcohol service specifically. So as a bar, is there any sort of host stand for seating, or is it all when patrons enter, is it all open seating?
We typically have we have a checkout counter at the very entrance of every store, and they greet customers and give them the rundown. But yeah, the seating is first come, first serve at the bar, and a few seats in the bar area.
Okay. And is all alcohol service done at the bar, or do you have staff that takes orders, throughout the location?
All done at the bar.
And I know you have a patio at this location. How is that patio going to be enclosed?
It's already enclosed. It's taking over a former Ted's in Montana grill. It's already has a steel fence around it now.
Okay. And do you know approximately how tall that fence is?
I think it's 40 inches tall.
Okay. And does that have an emergency exit gate, or is it an entrance and exit gate?
It has an emergency exit gate.
Okay. And will you have signage on that gate informing patrons that they're not allowed to exit the premises with an alcoholic beverage?
Yes.
And do you have similar signage anywhere else at the premises?
In Boulder or in other locations?
At this location.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that near any other exits of this premises?
Yes.
Okay. On the alcohol service, what's your training procedure like for your employees?
We like having tips, but we go above and beyond, and we require serve safe as well. So we have both areas covered, and it is required before your first day of work.
Okay. And have you hired any staff for this location yet?
No, we have not.
How large of a staff do you anticipate having here?
12 to 14.
Okay. And again, all of those will be trained, or will there be some that don't handle alcohol?
Every single person's trained.
I know you said you have the serve safe training. Do you have any other kind of in-house training or employee manual or something like that for your employees?
Yes.
And do you regularly kind of reiterate those practices with those employees?
All the time.
As it relates to when a patron wants to order an alcoholic beverage, what is the company's policy on asking for IDs?
Anybody that looks younger than 100.
And what if someone wants to order multiple drinks when they're at the bar?
1 card per ID. I mean, 1 drink.
Okay. And then do you have those patrons come to the bar, or is there a way to kind of like check, who the other ages in the group or the IDs in the group? Sorry.
They can't buy a drink for another person.
Okay. And how does your staff monitor kind of consumption of alcohol and making sure patrons don't hand off drinks as someone's wandering around the business?
Well, we don't serve. The average drink is 1 per customer, so we don't usually have an issue with overconsumption. But anybody who acts intoxicated is completely asked to leave the store immediately.
Okay. And then when a patron orders a drink and is sitting out on the patio, is there a kind of line of sight from inside to view that patio, or do you like have staff stand out on the patio while they're out there?
There is a line of sight. There is a glass door that you can see from the bar to that area. And then there is a sales associate / bar back that is constantly monitoring everywhere we serve.
And again, not required, but do you have any cameras or other systems to help your staff monitor what's going on in the premises?
We have more cameras than most people just because we have merchandise as well. And it's a standard practice for us to utilize those in everywhere possible.
Those are all the questions I have for you. The licensing authority may have some follow-up.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Chad.
Sir Sampson. Members of the authority, any questions?
I have a question. I was looking through your website and stuff, and I don't see anything about food anywhere. Is that new to Boulder?
No, we started off with chips and salsa, and we're actually rolling out a brand new menu in all locations, hopefully in the next like 2 to 3 weeks. It might be done sooner, but that's why you don't see it.
Just wondering.
Yep.
In the packet, they do present a menu here
Oh, I missed it.
on
I'm
page
sorry.
206. I guess I'll follow with my questions here. You said kind of 11 to 10, and I'm looking at what you put in the packet here. You have you're applying for a tavern license at this moment, and then that gives you in the packet. You said 11 to 11, and then to midnight on the weekends. Are you gonna have like a fluctuating hour? Are you guys gonna have like an hours operation set, or just gonna kind of feel it out?
I think feel it out's the best way to go. I mean, we've talked to a lot of community members. Everyone's telling us that we're on the East Pearl side. It's pretty sleepy. Been down there a couple of times. You can see the stars clearly from on the east side of Pearl Street. So hopefully that changes with all the activity that is happening. And we're not a late night bar at all. We're a daytime oasis.
Yeah, it seems that way. The retail component and the menu looks that way as well. But I'm not seeing, again, the liquor policy or training in this packet. Am I missing it somewhere? Do you see it? Any other members of the board?
Nope.
I wasn't aware that was part of the packet.
I don't know. Am I missing it? Do you see it, Michael?
No.
No, we did not include the employee manual with the packet, but like the previous applicants were glad to provide it.
Same thing with the training, yeah?
Yes, once they go through the training.
Right, because you guys are going to do the build out and then you'll have to hire people and train them. And then I think would kind of go down the same road with these last applicants. Just as you're getting this going, just understanding the rules around our 60-day rule here in the city of Boulder, getting people trained within 60 days of their hire. And then also getting involved with RAR, really important. That's a great group. And Nathan Dewey is going to speak here later. Encourage you to hang out and hear what he has to say, but he is someone you should reach out to be a part of this group of responsible retailers. That's all I had for this packet. What a cool concept, though. I will say that.
Oh, thanks.
I had one question for you, Mr. Sampson. Could you just help me understand, will patrons be allowed to carry their alcoholic beverages throughout the store, like outside of, like, will they be able to walk through the racks and like drink and shop, the same idea, or will it be limited to a specific area?
No, that's the whole concept.
Right. Okay. So obviously, given that Boulder is a college town, there's a lot of underage kids who may be looking for upcycled gear. Like, what's your plan to prevent someone from purchasing a drink for themselves and then bringing it to some back of the store, handing it off to a friend, something of that nature?
Well, I mean, it's a small space, so you can really see everything.
Okay.
And everyone who is going to try to order a drink will be ID'd. And if you hate to be discriminatory, but if someone looks really, really young and see a drink in their hand, they're going to be asked to leave or present an ID to prove their age. But hopefully those people can still shop and still be a part of it all.
Sure.
You don't need to be 21 to get in. It's not that I guess
No.
I was imagining that. Okay.
No, I mean, if you were to come to our Denver location, it's mostly strollers and moms from, I'm not joking. It's our biggest demographic is mothers.
Okay. Yeah. So my recommendation would be, and I understand it's a small location, my recommendation would be just to make sure that your employees are aware that, you know, obviously there's a lot of college kids and just be doubly aware of that, since there's more potential for someone to do like a handoff of a drink.
Sure, we have a lot at stake with this company, and we don't want any hassle with that.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Any other questions from members of the authority? No. Would someone like to make a motion to approve? I mean, I would like to make the motion to approve contingent on us receiving the alcohol policy as well as the training materials. And what do you plan to open, Mr. Sampson?
Well, our construction was contingent upon this hearing. So if it's approved, Chaz can send over the materials, and it's a pretty minimal workload. So yesterday would be my answer. But yeah, we're missing a little bit of the Deion Sanders era here. So as soon as possible, as soon as construction's finished.
Okay, so then I would say, like, is before you open, like, we would like to have those training materials and the alcohol policy.
We have all that already, so that can be done today.
Perfect.
Okay.
I will second Vice Chair Carr's motion to approve this new license with the condition that we will receive those materials before they open their doors.
Thank you.
All in favor? Member Carr, aye.
Member Absalom, aye.
Member Roberts, aye.
All right. License approved.
Thank you, guys. We're excited to be there.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome to the community.
East Pearl needs that. East Pearl.
I agree. I'm excited to see this over there.
East Pearl needs the light.
We got it. Hopefully we're the spark. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. And I'll reach out. We're reaching out to that retail committee as well, as you guys know.
Yeah, and he'll be on this hearing here shortly, I believe.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, let me get everyone where they're supposed to be. Okay, perfect. And Mr. Dewey is available, and we're gonna have him. There he is. He's coming in. So we're gonna jump back up real quick to agenda item 3, which is matters from Responsible Association of Retailers. And I will hand it over to Nathan.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you? Okay. I don't know. My earbuds just decided to not work now. Sorry. I can't see myself. One sec. That's weird.
We can't see
All right,
either.
there we go.
Oh, there we
Hey,
go.
hey. All right. Hey, guys. Good to see you all. Sorry I wasn't here last month. I know this year's kind of been weird. I just wanted to first address things as far as why I've missed. I mean, as Mike knows, I know with you, Representative Carr and Roberts, you're newer to me. I never miss meetings. Just so you know, like I always make it a priority to be here. I think I miss one a year due to vacation or sickness or something since 2019. So just on a quick personal note, I'm getting divorced. So my life is kind of a little bit different right now. And the reason I was late today is because I had to pick my boys up from school. So some Wednesdays, there's potential I may not show up for like the first 10, 15 minutes of the meeting, just so you all know. If you want to push me back a little further, I will. I don't think it'll be a problem a lot, but you know, occasionally you have traffic and things like this. And obviously I don't want to be talking to you while I'm driving. So that's just a little forewarning there. Other than that, all I can say is membership is growing. It feels like it's pre-2020 again in my tips trainings. I'm literally packed. Last time I had 10 extra people show up that didn't even sign up, which we always accommodate. But it gets a little crowded, but that's why we're back in the library full time. I've scheduled out the library throughout the year. So that shouldn't be really an issue unless they move me around, which they do occasionally. So that's great. We can hold up to 70 people. And right now I'm pushing numbers of about 35, 40, which was about the max before COVID. So that's really positive news for us. Just completely trained a whole restaurant yesterday. I was down in Boulder yesterday and just trained the full restaurant right there because there were like 25 people. So instead of filling up my normal class, I just am now back to doing them in person in restaurants, which is really cool because I also get to see the layout of the restaurant and we can talk about certain things or location of the restaurant. So it's really actually a unique opportunity for me to train folks within their own environment to help them think about the precautions they can take, the dangers they may not think about. And other than that, I'd say the one big thing that we're pushing right now is we're still working on a patron safety training packet. As soon as I have some volunteers for that, I will get you guys that packet for approval for a certification. And then I plan to do another fake ID training with Boulder PD because the last one was good, but I want a bigger turnout next time. And so that'll probably happen in October before the big holiday season starts, probably first or second week of October. And then also last Monday, I went before C-Lab, your counterparts for marijuana licensing eventually. Just let them know the good work we're doing and the collaboration we have. So if you ever get to talk to those folks, if you don't mind just letting them know the relationship RAR and BLA and the city of Boulder have had. I know our grantors talked to them beforehand, like the month before me. So once they get up in licensing, it'll be great to be working with them as well. But I want to start doing that now. So I kind of approached them and gave them a presentation of what we're doing. Which leads me to the final thing. The biggest thing we're really pushing in the Boulder community right now amongst the members, especially when I'm doing tips trainings and the member meetings, is just the service of alcohol with people who are already or have already consumed marijuana or cannabis, whatever you want to call it. It's becoming an issue where even law enforcement's kind of focusing more on it, I want to say. That's why it's becoming more of an issue. Not that it hasn't always been around for a while, but also people feel brave, like they can just smoke their vape pens outside of a member's location. So we're really starting to approach on how to handle those situations and how to just understand that serving someone who has consumed cannabis and admits to it and or you can tell, which is pretty bad if they're that high, you cannot serve them alcohol, because even a lot of the servers don't understand that. It's not something they think about when they're like, you know, you're not allowed to serve someone who's drunk. Well, you're not allowed to serve anybody who's visibly intoxicated, is what the law says. It's visibly intoxicated person. And so that's when in the trainings, I'm like, it's crack, it's smack, it's coke, it doesn't matter, right? If it's an intoxicant, you cannot serve alcohol on top of that. So vice versa, we'll be doing that with the cannabis members, because, you know, I came back from a concert in Red Rocks and stopped by a Green Solutions with my buddy, and literally 80% of the people in there were wasted at 10 o'clock at night getting sold marijuana. So that's something that I think we can come together on both sides of the retail chain of cannabis and alcohol, and under RAR really conform to not selling or serving these substances on top of one another, or when someone is visibly intoxicated. So that's my big campaign for the next month or two. And yeah, other than that, if you all have any questions for me, please let me know.
I just want to say what you're saying right now is so important to this community of young people coming into serving and understanding. And it's not, like you said, not just marijuana, but that's the real rule, right? If someone appears visibly intoxicated on anything, you are not allowed to serve them. And that should be neither marijuana nor alcohol, right? If you're
right,
a retailer in our community. So thank you for bringing that to our community. It means a lot. It's something that I personally have experience with. I've seen people on marijuana and then have one sip of a beer and then things change. So really stoked to have you doing that. And I also want to say I have some personal people coming to me about what you're doing on the marijuana side in our community. So thank you. Let's get us all together. We're you know,
yes,
we're
please.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael, I could really use that lead. So I mean, it's kind of like, you know, I'm the new guy in town again on that side.
Marijuana people get a little more scared than alcohol people at points. I don't know why.
Sure.
I don't want to say why, but
I know a little bit why, yeah, but it's all good. It's all good.
no
Thanks,
paranoia.
man.
No, what I'm saying is that it's great, and I'm really excited to see you kind of bringing that concept together about just intoxication in our community.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, and thank you so much for what you do. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks for being here. I think we've heard at least 3 people to join RAR this week.
Yeah,
So that's good.
No, there's some interesting stuff coming into town.
Yeah.
That Mr. Sampson, that last one, that man, that made my stomach growl. I'm like, oh yeah, sounds good. I'm gonna have to check that place out.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks, Ethan. Next we have agenda item 11, matters from Assistant City Attorney, and I believe Christiana has some things for you.
Hi, everybody. I just had a couple of updates. The first update is that the ordinance changing the art gallery permit language and so on to retail establishment permit language and rules and so on, that passed on second reading unanimously on August 3rd. And so from here on out, we'll be seeing, you know, that retail establishment permit instead of the art gallery permit. The other update and request that I have for you all is about tastings permits and fermented malt beverage and wine retailer licenses. Proposition 125 went into effect on March 1st, right, 2023. And so now fermented malt beverage and wine retailers can do tastings in addition to retail. Oh my gosh, I'm going to forget my terminology. Retail liquor licenses and liquor licensed drugstores, I believe, are the other two that were previously allowed. And so one of the things that just administrative things is that we mentioned those two previously allowed license types in the rules regarding tastings, but with this addition of the new license type allowed to do that, it would be a good idea to update the rules of procedure to reflect that change. And there is one small section in the rules of procedure for the BLA that addresses that. That is section 3.6, 3-6, excuse me. and it just has a reference to, I'll pull that up really fast. It just has a reference to retail liquor stores and liquor licensed drugstores. And my recommendation and request for you all is to move to recommend to City Council that we just remove that reference to retail liquor stores and liquor licensed drugstores from that section 3.6 and update the rules that way. I'm happy to answer questions.
So from your email, which I did read, and thank you for the explanation, it sounds like that we have chosen at this point not to permit those stores to allow tastings, but we're technically not permitted to prohibit those stores. Like it either has to be blanket, all, or none, right?
Yeah, that's right. So basically the way it works is that in situations like this where we have a matter of statewide concern, right, alcohol licensing, for the local jurisdictions, we're allowed to regulate, but only if there's something specific in state law saying that, hey, local jurisdiction, you can regulate these things. So here we're allowed to regulate number of hours, and a couple of other things, but prohibiting, like allowing one license type to do tastings, but another license type to not, isn't within our authority for this matter. So yeah, that's right.
Okay. And should we then set, so are we allowed to set different hours or rules for types of licenses, or do they all have to be the same hours and rules for all licenses?
I would say that it's not completely totally clear in the law whether or not we can like vary that, but my conservative advice would be to make it the same for everybody. And that would have to be done by City Council in the ordinance allowing tastings, and not by the BLA can certainly make a recommendation, right, for a code change, but ultimately that would have to go in the ordinance, because what the law says is that local jurisdictions can pass an ordinance allowing those things, and in the ordinance you can have stricter hours or you know, days that it's allowed, or something like that. So that's how it would work. We would have to make a recommendation first, and then City Council would have to consider it, and ultimately it would be up to them to approve that or not.
Okay, so
does that make sense?
From us, we have to come up with a recommendation for City Council. That's our action item.
Well, so tonight what I'm asking for is just the kind of essentially administrative change to the rules to remove the reference to retail liquor stores and liquor licensed drugstores as it relates to tastings in section 3.6 in the rules. That way it will just say, as to tastings, all servers must complete a server and seller training program, and so on and so forth, instead of calling out retail liquor stores or any other specific license in that section. That's my request for you. If you all wanted to have as a discussion item at some point, you know, restrictions on tastings that you want to recommend, then I'd say let's schedule that for a different meeting. Sure. But the request tonight is specifically for that change to the rules, and to make a motion to recommend that to City Council.
I'll make a motion to recommend your request to City Council.
Great.
Member Absalom would second that motion.
All in favor? Member Carr, aye.
Member Absalom, aye.
Member Roberts, aye.
Okay, thank you guys. Do you have any other questions on those matters for me? Anything else that I can help clarify or anything? No, okay.
Nothing
Yeah.
specifically. I just think that maybe as a authority, we should consider if we want to allow, you know, or if we want to set some guidelines around tastings and that sort of thing, given that retail stores are now included, and it's not just liquor stores. So there may be some differences in hours and operating hours and things like that.
Yeah, so if you guys let us, let me or the licensing staff know if you'd like that discussion on a future meeting, then we can certainly put that on an agenda where, we don't have too many other hearings or things like that. Okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right.
So if we should do that, would you agree with that, Mike, as well? Yep, okay.
All right. And then one related thing that I wanted to just bring up and get your feedback on is with these changes to the rules of procedure for the BLA, the last two, right, related to retail establishment permits and this one regarding tastings, they're really very minor, kind of just clerical updates and everything. And it made me think about just the process for approving changes to the rules of procedure. And so I just want to get feedback at this point just to feel it out. But if we ever wanted to pursue having the rules of procedure approved just by the licensing authority, would that be something that you guys are in favor of, or just what are your thoughts about that?
Generally, just in my experience on the board, we would take something like that to the retreat and then we would kind of prescribe our next steps around what we thought to bring to council if we were to do so at that point.
Okay.
It's just kind of how I've noticed it happen. I know that both member Carr and member Roberts haven't been around as long as I have. But once we, what I'd ask you, Christiana, if we could, I think member Califano would be a huge asset to these discussions as we talk about some changes because he is the vet. So if we can kind of table some of these things to next month when he's available, I think that might be huge for us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's completely fine. I can remember to bring that up next time. This most recent question about the rules changes and everything. I'm more than happy to do that.
Can I ask you something about last month? What was going on was there a motion in the state Senate to change the hours of operation in terms of like extending how late bars can be open through the state?
Would that be through the liquor license, like the advisory committee? Kristen might have more.
Committee, right, but I know that there is rules around that, like you said, for municipalities, local jurisdictions. But I thought that there was something that you had mentioned last month around that changing around Christmas and then around hours of operation. Real? I heard a rumor about this.
So I think Kristen probably has the best update for you about that. I'll let her speak to that point.
Thank you. I think what you're recalling is the presentation that Officer Dennig provided on the Liquor Advisory Group discussions. So the State Liquor Enforcement Division has formed this Liquor Advisory Group, and they are discussing exactly what you described, allowing liquor licensees to be open on Christmas and potentially extending their hours of operation, along with a large range of other discussions that they're having. I'm not sure the outcome of that. If the advisory group does decide to make that recommendation, that it will be just a recommendation to the state legislature, and then it will need to go through that process before anything becomes effective.
Thank you so much, Kristen. That was definitely what was in my notes, and that's what it was, and it was not in the actual state legislature.
We will keep you posted, though, if it does make it to that level.
That's a big deal.
It is. There's actually some pretty large changes that are being discussed right now that would really impact us at the local level. So once we get a little more clarity around what those final recommendations are, we'll share those with the board.
Thanks, Kristen.
You're welcome.
I'm sure you're aware, Kristen, but I've been following proposals 20A and B, which I think talk generally about like biannual renewals and changing some things around that. And I was curious if you are all aware of that as well, and if there was going to be any input that you would request from us, whether that would be to either make a statement on that, or if you want any suggestions from us on that. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We did provide some comments on those proposals already, only because the due date was before this hearing, and we wanted to get them in. So our position generally at the city is that we are opposing some of those proposals to switch to a biannual renewal cycle and to switch to concurrent review of renewal applications. We feel like that would add a lot of confusion to the process for licensees to have to work with both the state and the local licensing authorities, as opposed to having everything routed through the local licensing authority as we are now. So that was generally the feedback that we provided. But if this board does have any comments that you'd like to provide, I'm happy to collect those and make sure they get submitted to the liquor advisory group as well.
I mean, I don't want to speak for the board here, but I will say this, I will certainly acquiesce to licensing's understanding of this. You guys are the best ones that go through this. I think what your recommendation is probably the one that I would personally endorse. Is what you're saying. I think you guys go through, you understand more of this process than I think anyone. So I would endorse whatever city licensing is going with on this.
Yeah, I didn't have any additional comments. I just, wanted to understand kind of, I guess, what the city was thinking about it. And I think one of my concerns was just biannual renewals. And I'm glad to hear that the city is opposed to that and has made their opposition known.
Thank you. We'll absolutely keep you posted as that progresses, and whatever the outcome may be, we'll keep the board updated.
Thanks.
You guys rock.
That's everything from me too, you guys.
Thank you. Okay, next we have agenda item 12, which is matters from licensing clerk. We do have quite a few boundary settings today, so we'll just get going on those. The first neighborhood boundary setting for applications for the September 20th hearing is CST Metro LLC DBA Circle K number 2741110 for a permanent modification of a fermented malt beverage and wine retail off-premise type liquor license application at 2995 30th Street, Boulder, Colorado 80301. I was able to take suggested boundaries from the original application at this location. And that is north is Iris Avenue, south Arapahoe Avenue, east 47th Street, west 19th Street. And I'm sorry, I have these pulled up. So this is the first one.
You said East 19th.
East 47th, west 19th.
West 19th. Yeah, I was just saying that doesn't make sense. I'd make a motion to approve those boundaries.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
All right, thank you. Next we have Circle K Stores Inc. DBA Circle K Store 2709851 for a permanent modification of a fermented malt beverage and wine retail off-premise type liquor license application at 1480 Canyon Boulevard, Boulder, Colorado 80302. Suggested boundaries are from the original application, and they are Balsam, on the north, Balsam to Edgewood, south University Extended, east Folsom Street, west city limits. And this is the location.
I'm okay with those limits.
Member Absalom, second. Before we go any further, can I just ask this? Maybe this is a Kristen question or maybe a Christiana question, but these are all Circle K's doing modifications. we can't see any of this until we actually see this. Like, are these all administrative?
No, they're permanent modifications, so that you
They're
will
gonna come before us, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you'll hear them next month.
It's just interesting that they're doing all of them like this. And what are they changing?
I believe that they're adding storage to include storage for more wine.
That makes sense.
And Kristen Teague took these applications. She's the intake clerk for them. So I haven't had a good chance to look at them, but I believe, and Kristen, see if she has more information, she can give it to you, but I believe that's their intention.
That is correct. What Caitlin Kellogg just said is correct. Sorry, guys. I've been working with Kristen Teague on that as well. That's exactly what they're doing with these Circle K permanent mods.
Thank you.
Awesome. And we have our third one is Circle K Stores Inc. DBA Circle K Store 2709861 for a permanent modification of a fermented malt beverage and wine retail off-premise type liquor license application at 2877 Baseline Road, Boulder, Colorado 80303. The boundaries, suggested boundaries I have are from the original application as well, and that is Arapahoe Avenue on the north, Table Mesa on the south, Foothills Parkway on the east, and 9th Street on the west. And I believe this one is pre-zoned free, but Arapahoe is up here. And let me get you our Table Mesa is down here.
Boundaries look good to me. I'm a member. I will make a motion to approve this.
Member Absalom, second.
Thank you. Next we have Circle K Stores Inc. DBA Circle K Store number 2709865 for a permanent modification of a fermented malt beverage and wine retail off-premise type liquor license application at 3040 Broadway Street, Boulder, Colorado 80304. Suggested boundaries are from the original application as well, and that is Kalima on the north, Mapleton on the south, 19th Street on the east, city limits on the west. And there's two, but this one is the Circle K for you.
Member Absalom, make a motion to approve those boundaries.
Member Carl will second that.
Thank you. And next we have our fifth one here. There was a typo on the agenda on this, so my apologies. It should read Circle K Stores Inc. DBA Circle K Store number 2709866 for a permanent modification of a fermented malt beverage and wine retail off-premise type liquor license application at 3185 28th Street, Boulder, Colorado 80301. Suggested boundaries are from the original application, and they are Colima on the north, Pearl on the south, Foothills Parkway on the east, 19th Street on the west.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
Member Absalom would second.
All right, two more to go. Our next one is CST Metro LLC, DBA Circle K Store number 2744057 for a permanent modification of a fermented malt beverage and wine retail off-premise type liquor license application at 1884 Folsom Street, Boulder, Colorado 80302. The suggested boundaries are from a modification of premise from 2018, and those are Valmont on the north, Arapahoe on the south, 30th Street on the east, 20th Street on the west. And then again, there was a address typo for this particular application on the agenda as well, but it should be 1844 Folsom Street, Boulder, Colorado.
Member Carr will make a motion to approve those boundaries.
Member Aslam seconds.
And last one is not for Circle K. It's for Boulder Broker Inn LLC, DBA Broker Swim Club / Bottom of the Rocks for a new hotel restaurant type liquor license application at 555 30th Street, Boulder, Colorado 80303. And the suggested boundaries I took from Corelli's of Boulder, and those are Marine extended on the north, Table Mesa to Broadway on the south, Foothills Parkway on the east, and Broadway to Regent extended on the west. And then for context, Corelli's is right up here, and this is the location of the business.
What was it on the north?
On the north, it's Marine extended. So that is.
Where is Marine extended?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
So that seems east, doesn't it? This is a big one, kind of, because the Broker Inn kind of had a pretty famous rep. And I think we want to get the community involved and make sure we extend this out to. So we're going to Foothills there on the east. See that? I think that gets that whole community there. But what about farther towards the west there? What's our west boundary? Broadway?
Broadway to Regent extended. Here,
I would suggest maybe going farther west. What do you think, Mike? To get whatever we can get in that community towards University Hill there, because that's, I think, important.
I agree. I think at least 9th Street, because there's a big park, big neighborhood that's like right there.
Right.
Maybe even the city limits.
We're gonna they're asking for a hotel restaurant type license right next to the Dark Horse.
Yeah.
And that neighborhood should get extended, I think, a little farther into the lower Chautauqua neighborhood.
Do we just say city limit on the west?
I think we should go as far as we can for that one. I mean, how far can we go?
I think we should be on our left.
I agree with Member Carr. I think we should go, if we can go to city limits that way, we should.
Okay,
It's up to the board's discretion if you want to go to city limits.
I think we should, Member Carr, with your recommendation, I think we should go pretty far into that neighborhood. If it's city limits, city limits. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Could you remind me what the south was again? Because I've forgotten. Did you say Table Mesa?
Table Mesa to Broadway. Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And where was Marine on the north? I didn't ever.
I was trying to find that. I'm not sure. Let me know if you see it.
Do we just want to say, I don't know. Do you want to say, what is 119?
What gets us through all of campus,
right?
Or all that part of town? Because Marine, I'm looking at another map that takes you down towards like where off of Arapahoe, like where Snarfburger is essentially.
Okay.
So that's pretty far down east. The neighborhoods I really want to be involved in this discussion, I think, are the ones that we're getting close to the university. So I think, to your point, Member Carr, I think we're fine in the south. We go west of city limits, and then we're there at Marine. I think that gets us there. I think that the baseline sub community there, it's all encompassed in that, right?
Okay, as long as they're encompassed in that, yeah.
I just want to see that. Yeah, because that takes you right. Because Marine is farther down to that side.
I'd like to even go. Yeah, I guess that's enough.
No, you tell me, Mike.
Well, I was going to say, because you have to look at it like across the whole way. So I almost would like to go a little bit north of that and just go up to like Boulder. Can you scroll your map a little bit? Just like a little bit higher, just like right before we get into downtown. So what is that, like where the buff is?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, like Folsom area, but that's not across.
We could say, what if we said, Yeah, where is that? What street is that buff on? Is that Canyon?
This is Pearl. I'm sorry, I have to like scroll in so I can see what.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
no,
could even say, I think
This is
right
Canyon.
there, Canyon, that
Mhm.
seems appropriate to me. Just to get all of like Goss Grove and that whole neighborhood in there. Lower
I
downtown.
think that's appropriate. I think that's the right call. I would second that. Do we have the streets again lined up so we can just double check that we got it right?
Yes, so I have Canyon on the north. We're keeping the Table Mesa to Broadway on the south. We're keeping Foothills Parkway on the east, and we're extending the west to city limits.
That sounds right to me. I'll make a motion to approve those boundaries.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, thanks so much. And then next we have our expected administrative processing of a liquor license transfer application. We talked about this earlier, but that there is one for Hapa Sushi. And then there was no breweries, wineries, or distilleries, and you have your special event list and your renewals. And I did have a question for you all. Would you like to see those training materials that you're requesting from some of the applicants today in your next packet, or whenever they provide them, or are you okay with city licensing taking them? If you want to see them, I'm happy to put them in your packet.
I guess my thought on this is if we see them and they're not like comprehensive or enough, then I think that might be, I think they'll be comprehensive, but say they're not comprehensive enough, then will we have the opportunity to call them back? Or since you've already approved today, we wouldn't really have that until their next renewal.
I'll see if Kristen knows the answer to that one.
Well, I think around that, when we put a condition around it, right? So like if we say they did not meet the condition, therefore that what we approved is not approved because they didn't meet the condition. I think we maybe should see them.
I think so too.
Yeah, but we didn't say that we had to see them to approve them. We just said they had to.
You're right. We said that
They just have to be there.
And I mean, I trust every single person listening to look at that and say that's okay. And obviously, if you look at that from your perspective in licensing and say, hey, it's not comprehensive in a sense, just for even the training, then would that spark a show cause for you guys to set them up? Is that the rules of procedure for us?
Yeah, that's a good question. At this point, we've got a license condition that they need to provide those materials within a certain amount of time. If they do not provide those materials, then that could be grounds for in order to show cause. If they do provide the materials, I'm not sure if in order to show cause would be appropriate if we felt like that for some reason they weren't adequate. I think the next step in that case would be that we would present those materials to the board, which we're happy to do in any event. But I think if there was a question, we'd present those to the board and then you all could decide if you felt like, more information was needed or some next steps needed to be taken.
Yeah, I think member Roberts made the right point. We didn't really say that we were going to see them in front of us. We're going to send this to licensing. So yes, I think that's a great plan of action. If they're in some way not complete in your sense, that can then trigger an opportunity for us to look at them.
But I do think this is an interesting kind of discovering opportunity uncovered today. And I don't think, and perhaps having a review or policy around their policies and what we are expecting. Perhaps maybe at one of our retreats or something, we can start putting guidelines in, but I would also be curious to know what previous council has done. Has anybody ever approved people's policies? I guess I would need more background on that as well.
Well, I think that to the point of like putting us the conditions on that in there, like if you look at their packets when they're getting the form from licensing, it's asking for proof of training. So those people who are going through construction components, they still have a requirement to prove to us they have proof of training, right? So that's in there. And there is also a question in that exact filing form that says, what is your liquor policy? So like we have the mandate to ask them what's going on with that. You know, as that is our mandate to enforce Colorado state law, but also the city of Boulder, we ask those questions from them. So if they're not providing that information, we're responsible to say, where is that? This was a unique hearing to have. I mean, we literally had what, three not have those things. And that's why we have to talk to them about it, right? And they would have been administrative if they had all their ducks in a row there. So yeah, I think you're right. I think we should talk more about this. And again, I really acquiesce to Matthew. Matthew Califano has more experience than any of us three.
Yeah.
And he might be able to help us a lot around how we navigate these waters, but it is kind of a bummer to see people come up. We're looking at their application and we're requiring them to bring that. And then we have to say, now we were putting conditional approvals on their renewals. It's like, you're adding more work for these amazing people in our licensing office. You're making more work for everyone. So that's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, part of me wants to like even just deny it because they're not in compliance. But I also I want to strike a balance between compliance and creating so much additional work for everyone, because it's still additional work for our licensing in City of Boulder staff if they have to come back for another meeting too.
I think it's also okay to have anomalies. Like maybe today was just they just all lined up and they each had a fairly good excuse. So could have just been today's package.
And we're kind of coming out of that kind of COVID haze of people being like, hey, this is the reason why, and things are crazy. Life happens, but again, our mandate is to uphold the rules. And
So what is the policy, a city policy around an establishment's liquor policy? Do we have, is it approved? When we say, is it adequate? What does that mean?
You'd have to reference the BLA rules on that, but to that point, essentially in a licensing application, in an application, it asks you for your liquor policy, right?
Yeah.
Our job to say, hey, is that up to the standard based on our mandate to represent the laws of the city of Boulder and the Colorado State Liquor Code and all those things. But I think the reason we hear that a lot around here is because we are very cognizant of establishments who do, when they don't have something in place, things go bad. And we have a community that has a history of bad things happening around alcohol. So I think that's why we hear that a lot, as you start hearing us go through that, because you look at responsible establishments, they have a bulletproof policy and they hammer it home with their teams. And then you look at the places some places that's why I almost want to see what's going to happen with some of the especially the place that's going in on 29th Street Mall. I want to see that.
Yeah.
I'll see, so I think you're striking a balance, right? And that's why you were appointed by city council. You are the one to represent the community. So I really thank you guys, and especially Michael, great job today.
Thanks everyone for your support.
I am actually in the process of revamping our checklist for applications. And previously the training wasn't a part of the checklist. It was a sub part of a different part of a requirement. So I've created its own separate line where they will have to check that off. They have to do that.
And there is an alcohol policy on that checklist, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was previously a sub, what am I trying to say? It was part of a different part of the checklist requirement, but now it will be its own requirement. So hopefully that won't happen again. It'll be good. Cool. If Kristen doesn't have anything else, I will move on to agenda item 13, matters from chair and members of the authority.
I don't have anything. It's been great with you guys. I'm on my way out here, so I'm leaving the country in November. So I will be here next month, but I will have to tender my resignation because I don't think I can. Can I zoom into this from Mexico or no? No, I have to be in City of Boulder, right? I do. I am subletting, so maybe I'll talk to you guys about that. Maybe I'll get with the city attorney about how that works.
Yeah,
Well,
Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Caitlin. I was going to say Christiana had to jump off the call, but I would like to connect you with her because I think that's a really good question. I think it comes down to where your residency is, not where you're necessarily physically located for the meeting. But I think that's a really good question for the city attorney's office. If you'd like, I can send an email and kind of get that conversation going.
Sure, and I'm happy to get that ball rolling as well. Just on my end. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Unless you guys have anything else, I will make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that motion to adjourn.
I'll favor that.
All right.
Thank you all so
Everyone,
much.
have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.